sector. Biashara Tuesday is back on air. We're just having a small conversation here on the sidelines with my guest of the day. Our guest of the day here this morning is George Muturi Wanjobi, a doctor of philosophy in business administration and management, specializing in matters of strategic management. This morning we are having a look at how Kenyan businesses can think around the supply chain, strategic management, because he's an expert in that as well, and also some of the biggest trends we can have a look at in preparation for the future of supply chain management and potential disruption in the global supply chain. But that might sound so technical at the very beginning. We are going to break it down in how relevant that is for you in the Kenyan context, yeah. Advice to Kenyan businesses on how to navigate the sector in which they exist in. Before I preempt all I have prepared for that conversation, let me allow Dr. George to introduce himself. Atuambie what he's up to, how he's faring on with the flooding situation in the Republic, heavy rainfalls and whatnot, what strategic management he has done on himself. And then we get to business. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
I once more reiterate my thanks for being on this show, KUTV. I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah.
I'm Dr.
Yes, please.
I'm Dr. George Wanjobi.
Yes.
With a training bias in a scholar with a special interest in special bias in procurement and supply chain and strategic management. My undergraduate is in procurement and supply chain. My master's degree is in procurement and contract management, and a PhD in strategic management. I've practiced. I'm a practitioner. I'm a scholar because I've taught in a number of universities locally at Jomo Kenyatta University. I still work for Mount Kenya University, and above all, universities in the Horn of Africa, especially in Somaliland, Djibouti, and the countries revolving around the Horn of Africa. I'm happy and pleased to be on the show.
All right. So we're here with a teacher to the very base, yeah? And then Mwalimu University.
Mwalimu University.
Of course, we're here to learn from you in matters of business. I know supply chain is something many businesses know what that is, because it's supply and it's a chain.
Yep.
Then maybe we could expand a bit on procurement and strategic management.
Amazing.
And then get to know how this is relevant for the Kenyan businesses.
Good.
Yeah.
Leveraging on procurement and strategic management, the two disciplines are intertwined.
Okay.
Because supply chain will drive the aspect of consumerism. That's why you have what you have on the table as you speak now. Let's say a cup of tea. It has gone through a chain from the point of production, processing, manufacturing, distribution, to the point of you purchasing and getting it onto the table. Supply chain seems to be a difficult word, but it's a practice that has existed. Let's say 3000 BC, from the point of construction of the pyramids, industrial revolution, and even onto the 20th and 21st century. We practice supply chain on a daily basis in our individual aspects. It's just that it's not coded as a practice. We have greatly evolved as a country, and businesses have been forced to conform into this side or onto that discipline of supply chain and procurement. And strategic management, it's all about all aspects of managing the business to be driving going concerns. And apart from being driving going for concerns, for them to be on the line for the purposes of prosperity and posterity. Because we have to run the businesses in a manner that they spell posterity and prosperity.
All right.
Amazing.
I love that you've mentioned, a little bit of history there, from the pyramids to the Industrial Revolution. I remember even before that, there was the Silk Road, even in West Africa, salt and all of that. What is different with the supply chain of that time and currently as we are? Yeah.
The supply chain of then was not well organized and it was not well spelt. The supply chain of now, it's very well organized in order to fit into the global aspect. So that's why we get things from all over. You can order something from Europe and you get it in 2 days.
Yeah.
So the supply chain of now has just been fixated to an orderly format, a format that flows. It's guarded by laws, because the previous one was just guided by circulars. If you look at the Kenya evolution of, let's say, Kenyan setup of procurement, it was guided by circulars. Procurement was not a department. It was a practice under and it was a branch of practice and accounting. But now it's a standalone practice.
Yes.
And you find now that as we, even from, let me speak from the point of governance. From the point of governance, you'll get to learn that from a governance system, governance is a key word. But for us to offer service delivery to our citizens, to the 50 million citizens, supply chain must be involved.
Okay.
This one will involve the aspects of procurement. Procurement, the government is the biggest spender. For example, in Kenya, it's a biggest spender. So the procurement of then wasn't organized to a point that it guaranteed, number one, promotion of local contractors. Right now, it's there. The AGPO, the access to procurement activities, which is the other one. Exploitation of local resources, that was not there. It was not crystallized into a tailing law. You understand?
Okay.
It limited competition, but now we've got equal chances. It spells affirmative action. That's why you've got affirmative action for the youth, for the women, and for the persons with disability. The training itself was not crystallized. The training itself.
Okay.
But now we've got a training that is crystallized from a certificate level to,
there's a solid structure to all the way
to a postgraduate level.
Okay.
Not even the postgraduate to a postdoctoral level. Then you come to the other essence that there was no professionalism. Right now, professionalism is there, locally one, guided by the Kenya Institute of Supplies Management. It was not there, it never existed.
Yeah.
The values and the ethos were not spoken of. Right now, the values under Article 10 of the Constitution are very well spoken of. The ethical conduct was not well spoken of. And even when we speak about the consequences for any maldoing or for any negation of the law, because now our procurement law is very spelling.
Okay.
From the time that it was first enacted till the time that we got the revised edition of 2022, it was not oversighted. Right now, it's very much oversighted and it's very much regulated.
Right. I'm having questions stream in from people who have questions regarding their businesses and also trending conversations when it comes to that. So I think we'll just attack them as we go, and
we'll dive into them.
ensure that
We'll
we have a very wholesome conversation. So let me begin with Nakumat.
Yes, the retail chain.
Nakumat and the likes. What is happening with that retail chain? Where does it keep collapsing? If we have laws, as you've said, we've revised them, we've amended, we have a solid structure in terms of training. Is it that we are not taking care of the most important people in the supply chain, or where is it failing? Because we find that every other time there's a new player in that sector and a fail after 3 years.
Yeah.
What happens?
Retail chains happen to be one amongst the biggest drivers of the supply chain. Okay. Because each and every common mwananchi, the common wanjiku, gets to pick a broken piece. Because you see, we break the bulk. From breaking the bulk, that's how you can access a small unit of 500 grams, that grammage. Now, my view about the retail chain, because I've practiced in the retail chain for quite a number of times. My view, and this is my considered view of what leads to the failure of the retail chain, is the retail chains failing to adhere to the best practices. Okay. Majority of the retail chains don't adhere to the best practices. Is that deliberate? Deliberate because they do that in order to keep pushing their business. Okay. I'll not mention them. Yeah. But once you read the reasons that led to the befalling of these retail chains, especially the biggest brands that fail in Kenya, you learn that, number one, there were aspects of money laundering, tax evasion. So when they fail to do business in accordance with the strict adherence of the paper, these will one day catch up with them, because they fail to do that for a short-term gain. For short-term gains, they achieve the short-term gains, but now they lead to failing later. Another aspect is this: there are so many people with there are so many people who use these chains to cover up their money. You understand? Yeah. Once they withdraw their capitation from the businesses just collapses. Okay. It cannot sustain, it can't hold the water. Yes. So I've said that in the very withdrawn manner. But read about it in a large scale,
of course,
large aspects. You learn about the banks that were involved and the players that were involved, and the detriment effects that went to the workers, to the suppliers, because suppliers were very much affected, and a ripple effect of many things that did follow up.
Okay, so that's for a formalized sector, and I think that's clear up to that level, of course, pending further studies into exactly what happened to the specific brands. When it comes to the informal sector and the supply chain, you realize we try to balance efficiency with supporting local communities. So it's kind of not well organized. Well, from my point of view, you can let me know further. For example, if you're talking Juakali, how they source their material. If you're talking, recycling, there is few structures in place. What kind of advice could you give there in terms of trying to navigate that informal sector to create a supply chain that works for them as well?
Well, I would number one, credit the people involved in the informal sector.
Okay.
Because the people involved in the informal sector are the biggest drivers. Because they form, let's say, 40% of driving the economy. And in my view, it's not that these people are not organized. It's just that they have not conceptualized what they do onto a fixed script.
Okay.
A fixed SOP, standard operating procedure. It's just that they lack that link. The link between what they're doing. Let me give a scenario. A person running a kibanda business. This person will wake up in the morning, get to pick some few supplies. Let's say it's milk, food stuff, and everything. This person will do the business in a brick and mortar way.
Yeah.
Very basic, just like running a household. But now this person hasn't crystallized his operations. So number one, I would plead with the people in the informal sector. Number one, to crystallize your operations. Mark everything that you do. Attach the costs. You understand? Because you see, in a formal organization, let's say like Kenyatta University, you attach even the ETR for a fueling when you fuel your car.
Yeah.
You attach even that ETR. Even when you have lunch, you attach that ETR.
Even a short border ride.
Even a short border ride.
Yes.
You have to really account for it. So now, the weakest link between, in fact, you've brought the sense, the weakest link between progression and driving concerns of brick and mortar businesses and businesses in the formal sector. Because once you look at the businesses in the informal sector, they've got a lot of money. Look at the people selling, let's say, seats and sofa sets along Ngong Road, along Jogoo Road. A piece of sofa set will cost around 110,000. That's close to $980. That's for just one piece. So if you can run a business whereby you are dealing with $980 or $1,000 for a sofa set, you understand? It's a lot of money. But these people do that also for deliberate interest. Number one, they don't want to pay taxes. Because right now we have hammered a person like you who is in the formal sector on a structured payroll. That your pay slip is hammered from the top. Businesses that are registered, they are hammered from the top.
Okay.
So they do that with deliberate interest. Once you look at the businesses in Gikomba, once you hear that a fire has stricken them, you'll get to hear the losses that they account for, and their losses accounting to millions. The people involved in the workshops, the Tiba business, and everything. Let's say in Gikomba. So once these people also do that for that deliberate interest, because they don't want to be brought to the tax table.
Okay.
Yes.
I see.
They just pay the license thing, but they are not formally onto the tax table.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's a loophole.
It's a loophole.
Okay.
I think the government should exploit that loophole so that every citizen can be brought to the tax baskets.
Yes.
Yes.
Now we have a bigger tax base there.
So that we can get a bigger tax base.
Okay.
Yes.
Now I think you've brought up very key points there in terms of crystallizing that supply chain. And I had asked something earlier on in my question, which is, who is the most important player in the supply chain? As a business person, who should I take care of the most?
Well, in all facets, everyone plays a very pivotal role in the supply chain.
Okay.
Everyone is an integral player.
None less than the other.
None can be withdrawn.
Okay.
Whether from the point of production, I would just say the person that we should really try to get rid of, number one, it's a broker.
Get rid of. Okay. Yeah.
It's a broker.
Okay.
Let the business be pegged onto the practice of a willing buyer, willing hard work, let's say, along the chain, because it's a chain, from the point of production. And remember, it will not even start from the point of production. It will begin from the point of mental cognizance that we need this thing in the market. Let's say it's a maize planting season. That cognizance, we have to till our land, blah, 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 and go through that chain. Then these people will come and spoil the chain here. We should look for a way, number one, to get rid of, number one, tenderpreneurs. That's why you see, let's say, in government, that line, canvassing will lead to immediate disqualification. So once we get rid of the tenderpreneur and the brokers, because brokers have got no law, they are just looking like this, and they play with the voids that are there and make a kill, a bigger kill than these people that were involved in the real market.
True, and it's affecting, especially in where matters of agricultural produce are concerned.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So getting rid of the middleman, that's the only person we don't need in that chain.
Yes. Okay. But we need the person to do the production, the person to do the processing, the manufacturing, the holding, the distribution, the consumer. Because even once the thing gets to the consumer, it must be of quality and healthy standard.
Okay.
So we cannot mess up with any process from the point of inception to the point of consumption.
Okay.
We can't mess up with anything.
All right. Are there resources that can help me improve and make that process efficient?
Yeah, resources are there. Resources are about to be there. In which sense? One must understand the field that he or she is practicing in. With that, upon understanding the process, the premise that you are practicing in, you have to inculcate a lot of hard work and grow rich knowledge in that specific tailor-made knowledge in that specific area of practice.
Okay.
Yeah, that one must be there. Because now these practices will vary. Because now the practice of a mechanic, let's speak in the informal sector, will be a bit different from the person from a carpenter. But remember, they have got apex interests at the top, whereby they need profit. Both of them need profit.
Yeah.
You understand? They need driving going concerns of their business. Driving going concern in a manner that the business will spell posterity and prosperity. Yeah. So that we can have businesses that run generations and centuries.
Yes, and still prosper.
Prosper.
Okay.
Because prosperity is key.
Yes, for sure. Now, when we are taking a look at a global context, as you said, now we are in a different era where the supply chain is being, fixed to fit the times that we exist in. We have things that I talk about here on the show, such as the African Continental Free Trade Area, free trade area, which will shift, I think, that supply chain. How can we still support local suppliers while adapting to those kind of changes? Because we need, of course, we need imports, we need to expand our chains, we need to expand our procurement sources and all of that, but still we need to support our local.
Yep, I agree with you onto that. Because number one, we have to support our local. And number two, Africa must advocate for themselves to be the biggest drivers of trade amongst themselves. And I'm very happy that Museveni is very vocal about that one. On having common market protocols, how we get rid of trade barriers, such as there is a word. I'm forgetting the word.
That's trade barriers.
No, the word is not the tariff and the non-tariff. Tariffs and the non-tariff barriers.
Okay.
And promote these essence whereby we ease movements of people and ease movements of goods. Now, with that, let me speak of something about the technology that has been involved. Blockchain technology and AI has really spiced up the attribute of doing business. So once we leverage onto tech, that's number one. We leverage onto ease of moving goods, so that with that we promote the logistics part of it, and then we ease on the people movement. That will be enough. Because once you compare, like now, doing business with a country like Ethiopia. Ethiopia is a country of 100 million people. You understand? So once as countries harmonize our diplomatic calling and become one, we'll expand the market and we'll have a larger returns. We'll have larger returns as a country and a larger market for us. Remember, we have got a very funny story in Africa, whereby some people that do the cocoa plants in Ghana, they have never accessed the benefits of cocoa.
Right.
You understand?
Yes.
The coffee farmer, let's say in Kiangombe.
In Kenya even. Yes.
In Kiangombe, in Kirugoya.
Yeah.
The coffee farmer in Kiangombe, in Kirugoya, has never had a cup of tea. This person has a coffee stem, but
has never had a cup of coffee.
But this person has never had a cup of coffee. Because a cup of coffee, it's consumed somewhere along Kemadi Street and Moi Avenue.
Yeah.
He has never had that privilege. He has never had the privilege of how a brewed substance tastes like.
Yeah.
So we must bring this rich tapestry of the African culture by opening the market space, by looking at the barriers, number one, the diplomatic calling and the ease of movement of people, and promotion of peace for prosperity. Because there must be peace for us to do business.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. I have something here from Museveni, who you gave a shout out. For the first time, we are commending Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni, who actually is one of the people who've done away with the middleman.
Yes.
So last year, he made a decision to stop purchasing petroleum from Kenya because there are middlemen operating in there and inflating the bills.
I agree
so
with you.
that is the play, as you had, of course, rightfully mentioned there, that we should be doing away with.
Yes.
And of course, expanding our market, African free trade area, a
Africa
bigger
continental,
market, which
yes.
means you're, even as a producer, you have more people to sell to, and not necessarily competition from outside coming in. I think that's a good way to look at it.
Yep.
Now, there's disruptions, even as we talk about this. Currently, we have heavy rainfalls in Kenya. Infrastructure development needs are very important in the supply chain management. How can we face these challenges and still continue with business at the same time?
Good, thank you. Onto that aspect, I'll say something. Procurement and supply chain practitioners and even business owners, because everyone is a driver, same as to you. You are a driver of the supply chain because you left your house in the morning and you are here at a cost. So we have to get to be ahead of times. That is the one that is key. We have to be ahead of times, and we have to be very, very prudent in anticipating. We have to be very prudent when it comes to anticipating. At times, we fail in our anticipations because none thought that COVID would be COVID with large impacts as the way it was. But number one, let's leverage on technology, prudence in anticipation, be it political, be it social interest, be it economic interest. Well, prudent even in anticipating the natural causes. Because we've got the weather forecast. Because once you look at the Kenyan government, how the Kenyan government runs, we've got people mandated to look at these issues of the natural disasters and these issues of, let's say, forecast of the weather and everything that connotes the weather and the natural well-being of the ecosystem. With that now, we as consumers and we as practitioners and even every driver as an agent of the supply chain, the only suspect that we can really support them is by going green. So that now we can tend to reduce these devastating effects so that each and every person can articulate his role in diminishing and mitigating these devastating effects.
Sustainability is also a thing to think about.
Because we have to be sustainable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's going to be useful.
We have to be sustainable.
All right. You've mentioned technology, leveraging AI, blockchain at the moment. How do you see these trends affecting the future?
Yep. Well, these trends are affecting the future because once you look, let's say, sometimes prior to 2015 or prior to 2013, a taxi to the airport was a big man's deal. Adults must converge in order to get a taxi.
Get into a taxi, yes.
But you see nowadays how accessing a taxi is easy.
I just pick up my phone right now and we have a taxi out here.
A taxi outside here. Accessing a meal, it was quite challenging. So right now you can order meals from your house. We'll begin from the very, 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 very minor aspects. Let's pick something like Facebook or WhatsApp. WhatsApp it's a very big driver of trade. Because each and everyone posts on the WhatsApp status what he or she is dealing with.
Right.
So technology will be a very big driver of supply chain in these aspects. If you look at something very simple, I'll give very simple scenarios that are happening in the country. Technology has really helped in doing away with the middleman. That's what we were saying.
Yes.
Look at these Kai and Karo, the ones that do cars. You can now sell a second-hand car, a local used car, or purchase a local used car from abroad with your Visa card.
Yes.
You understand? So technology, we can't divorce technology. We have to embrace technology to boost the quality, number one, of accessing goods from reputable sources, goods that from agents that you can trust. Because you see, the seller is the agent.
Yeah.
He's a link between your money and the product. Somewhere you can track. So we can't divorce technology. We can only keep on investing and inculcating technology to our levels of business.
Okay.
That's why each and every business like now accepts money payments via M-Pesa.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
So with that, I mean this. We cannot divorce technology. We can only embrace technology with the levels that our businesses needs.
All
Because you cannot tell, let's say, a hotel, a small hotel, to own a system like the one that is controlled by the government of IFMIS. You understand?
Okay.
But this person can come and pick a unit that works for his functional daily running of the business with eyes ahead,
Right.
with the interest of progression, so that he can keep investing onto that day by day. Let's assume it's a kibanda or a small bar. Today, he's selling in a brick and mortar way. Tomorrow, in the next 2 years, 3 years, he has got a point of sale. You understand? So that he can manage and monetize his inventory. You understand?
Yeah.
That is it.
Okay, to improve that efficiency.
To boost onto the efficiency and to boost quality in consumerism. Yes.
I like that because you mentioned earlier as well that it's good to know the premise of where you are operating in, and therefore usipeleke QR code Kenyatta Market for people to scan chapo beans. There's need to also understand
as we progress,
yes, you need to
we'll
apply.
get there.
Yes.
As we progress, let's say in 10 years time, you'll have the comfort of purchasing things with your Visa card in Kenyatta Market.
Even
in 10
in
years time.
Kibandaski, yes.
Yes, it will come.
Yeah, for sure.
It will come.
There's always jitters when it comes to technology. And as we are now, so many jitters across very many fields with regards to artificial intelligence.
Yep.
And when we speak efficiency and cutting out the middleman, there are others who aren't middlemen,
Yes.
who are like, kama you're ordering direct,
Niko hapa
it means,
katikati.
mimi hapa katikati, what's going to happen to me?
Yep.
I'm a procurement personnel, I'm a procurement professional, and you want to order stuff from the US direct to Ruiru at your doorstep.
Yep.
What happens to my job? What should we tell them?
Well, I believe in this thing. Once we cut out this middleman, or once we cut out in any practice, not only supply chain practice, be it in medical practice, be it in media, be it in any practice.
Yeah.
Once we inculcate something new, it brings more than 10,000 opportunities. Fight for those new opportunities brought by this new game changer, new forte. So you have to look for a way to affix yourself into the new forte, but don't fight the forte.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Adapt with it.
You have to adapt.
One thing they're saying is that you will not be replaced. It's the people who are using it well that will
Yeah.
replace
So you have to get yourself into that space. Remember, there was a time in Kenya we had just one media station. But now we don't even know the number. There are so many to a point that we've got the CA controlling. And each and every media station has got its viewers, has got their adverts. You understand? So in that case, each and everyone will have a space and role to play. You just need to seek for a void and affix yourself into a legal, noble, moral void and make your money.
legal, noble, and moral.
Yep.
Yes, and
Yep.
make your money. Don't do money laundering as you're trying to make that efficient. Now, we've spoken, of course, how to leverage innovation, technology, the challenges that businesses are facing as well in terms of operating that, of operating in such disruptions such as we are facing. Anticipate, plan ahead. Look at what the Kenya Met is doing in terms of natural disasters.
And
what
they should promote more advocacy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Advocacy in terms of
climate change.
Okay.
Yeah. You see, they're just
practices.
silent. Yes. We never anticipated floods to this extent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Small businesses say though that they are not key players in the effects of climate change. That maybe Villarosa is giving out more waste as compared to me. Should I also think about sustainability? And I'm just a small Kibandaski.
Yep. In very simple ways. Very simple ways. If it's a kibandaski, very simple ways. Just unlock the tunnel that is next to you and the business owners around that, so that at least you'll not be swept by floods. You'll not endure the devastating effects of the climate change. Promote peace. Go green in that zone. That's why Rwanda is so neat. You walk in Rwanda and you feel fresh.
Yeah.
You can feel that aura of freshness in Rwanda. Let's say in which is this place?
A comparison on a direct opposite.
A small comparison.
Mumbai?
A small comparison. If you compare the industrial area, it's a bit more noble. Because let's say in Kenya, our industrial area, it's a point of contempt. It's a point just of working, getting tired, to a point whereby people die.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
You can feel the freshness in their place. Let's say in the which is this place that I don't like? In the Jogoo Road. You'll feel
in
fresh.
the Githurai.
In the Githurai. You can feel a lot of freshness by supporting, number one, what is ethical, what is humane, of humane standard, and going green. Embracing solar energy, having solar lights, trees, clean air, fresh air, and promoting peace, peace and prosperity within themselves. Okay.
There's a lot of contracts, and I had a question from one person, and I operate a mandazi selling business. It's called Josiah Nefat. Anasema, what about contracts? So it seems that there's a lot of contracts that happen in between, of course, in that chain from the producer to the supplier.
To the point of the consumer.
To the point of consumer, yeah. So how do we...
And even in delivery of service, public service goods. Because you see, like now, the government purchases for the public good.
Yes, and there's contract signing, a lot of it happening there. Risk mitigation, let's talk about it when it comes to contract. How do you how do you negotiate the most effective contracts? If you ask the suppliers of the chains that you didn't want to mention, they'll tell you they were cheated out of some of those contracts. Some are actually ongoing court cases where you said this, you didn't deliver this.
And huge losses.
Yeah, how do we negotiate effective contracts, steering clear of risk? Well, you can't steer clear of risk, I guess, but try to mitigate risk.
It's very complex, and it's a very complex question. We have to agree on that.
Yeah, for sure.
And it calls for intricate details. Number one, for the public good and for the person doing, let's begin from the point of doing informal business. What is called for so much is sensitization. There has been very little advocacy. It's something that I've noted. There has been very little advocacy. Very little advocacy and very little awareness creation on how small businesses should enter into contracts. That's why you find that many suppliers are crying out of pending bills. Many of them have been auctioned out of the pending bills with the various county governments. You understand that each and every county government, you have seen the number of pending bills, you understand? And many of them have been inflated. You remember the NYS and blah, 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 blah. Many people who missed on their payments. So number one, what I would call for and what I would challenge fellow practitioners, scholars, and people with a keen interest, even businessmen, it's number one, to have a conversation about advocacy on contracts. Be it as simple as they are. That's why you'll find that in many businesses, they don't like contracts. They like leta pesa yangu,
mimi nikupatie shughuli yako.
You understand, eh? But a number of businesses go the contract way because the benefit that is attached. But now sustaining it becomes a challenge. You understand? So you're on a loan, on a top-up loan, on a letter of credit. Then we get a scenario whereby last year we had what were they called? The county billionaires.
The COVID billionaires?
County.
Oh, they were county billionaires.
These county billionaires who hadn't been paid, but they have got millions.
Oh, okay, yes.
They are owed millions by the county governments.
Yes.
So, number one, what I would say, it's advocacy on the best way. And number two, advocacy on upholding best practices. Number three, there is something that we need to check on so that we cushion our businesses, especially the businesses that are dealing with the government. The Procurement Act, it's a bit lenient when it comes to the penalties of delayed payments. Because now you see when every governor comes in, he has to do an audit. You understand? You has to do an audit of the pending
What's
bills.
pending, yeah.
So some of the genuine suppliers are struck out.
Yeah.
Some of the suppliers who did supply genuinely are told, give us a cut so that
We can give you
we
what
can pay you.
we owe you, yes.
so that we can give you what we pay you.
Yeah.
And many people fall for that trap. So we should also, I would challenge our parliamentarians also, the legislature arm of the government, with goodwill from the people involved in governance, that we repeal even the the professional bodies. These are, it calls for concerted efforts from the Institute of Economic Affairs, procurement practitioners, public accountants, so that we can find a middle ground to save the local man and the person doing the brick and mortar business at the base, to save the base business model at the base.
Okay.
And as we save the base, we also save the top tier business.
Okay.
Yes.
They're asking for a small business, and then should I draft a small paper for every contract I get into, even if it's handwritten? Does that count as a contract?
It counts.
Yeah, okay.
You see, a contract is just a legal binding document between two more parties.
Yeah.
So it counts.
Okay.
And you should have that one.
You should have it as well.
Especially when pending payment is involved. When credit is involved.
Okay.
Yeah, you should have that one.
So, mtu akikwambia kuletea one sack of potatoes, write something down, and then sign up, and then
well, it might not spell onto any business, onto every business. That will be a lie. It might not spell onto every business.
Okay.
But goodwill is a key factor. And remember, you cannot inculcate the sense of goodwill onto everyone. Remember, there are so many people that we live with our cars. These parking lots in town, whereby we leave them even with our car keys, and go. You live without a paper. You go to a garage.
And you leave your keys there, everything,
you go to a garage
laptop in the bag.
The mechanic tells you. The mechanic tells you you have to wait for 3 days for the car to be done. You understand?
You leave them the key.
And you leave them with the key. You've left them with nothing. No paper that you've left them with.
Yeah.
You've just
They haven't
walked out.
signed anything.
You understand? Eh?
Yeah.
To those high degree levels, to those high, let me not call them high level, but goodwill is a key factor.
Yes.
You leave your car with someone, a car with 3 million. Because of what?
Because of
goodwill is a factor.
Yes.
That you have left this car with someone. Remember, once this car vanishes,
goodwill is not a legal requirement.
Goodwill is not a legal requirement.
Yes.
So,
okay.
As players in the supply chain sector, goodwill is a goodwill contributing to the ethics, to the good ethics, is good in doing business.
Okay.
But now, when it comes to transactions, ensure that
you have
you document them.
A documented contract.
You document them.
Okay.
Not contracts only, but even the transactions.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Sure. So that you get to account for your business.
Documentation is everything there.
Yes.
Nice. So with limited resources, as we wind up here, question for smaller and medium-sized enterprises in Kenya. How can they practice or have to implement strategic management practices in a way that still can save them money, that isn't so expensive?
Good.
Because once we have these discussions, mtu anafikiria, oh, so now I need to sit down, evaluate who is where, research on who's the best source, do all that book work, who's going to sponsor that, how can we do it in the best way?
Okay, when it comes to that, aspects of strategic management are involved in our daily lives. That's why you manage yourself as you cross the road. That's why you lock yourself. You lock for your house,
yes.
And it's your house. Now, when it comes to businesses, strategic management has to be upheld for the businesses to remain competitive, for the businesses to keep to sustain their calling. You understand? Because businesses are called to various calling. Kibandaski, Mama Mboga, Boda Boda Rider, is just to give efficiencies in mobility. So in that sense, I mean, businesses have to, number one, engage strategic management for their competitive edge. That's number one. Number two, for their sustainability model. Number three, for their progression. Number four, for anticipation and the mitigation of risks and losses. So strategic management, I'm sure each and every businessman practices strategic management
Okay.
informally. It's just that it's not on paper.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you should just keep on building onto
On
it.
what they already
Yes.
are.
What you are doing, keep on building onto it, because Rome was not done in a day.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. George, for that feedback and, of course, for the discussion that we've had here so far, answering some of the questions. I see here Ashley saying, morning, Okenya, having breakfast as I enjoy the conversation on Biashara Tuesday at the comfort of our home, tuned in till the last minute. Hauna tashwishi yoyote kwenye supply chain management as such ambayo ungeuliza, but asante sana for tuning in. Predictions into the future in terms of supply chain management that you can give in as we see other comments also from elsewhere.
Well, predictions into the future, tech will be a big player. Number two, when it comes to practitioners, a lot of regulations are, even businesses, a lot of regulations are coming up. Number three, with the 80% of the population being less than below 35 years, we expect to see a lot of business revolutionary in how business will be done, even in order to accommodate the most vibrant generation that will be the Gen Z and the following up Gen Alpha. There will be a lot of revolutionary. Number four, I expect a lot of customer delight mechanisms. They'll come because each and every one gives ratings, and each and everyone gives recommendation. Recommendation will be the biggest set of marketing. And a customer who is aware, and a consumer who is aware. That one is coming also, because you see nowadays we are not even much more reliant onto KEBS. We've got our own individual ways of
measuring the standards. Look at it. We'll have all the players, let's say, will get away to be doing the genuine things. If it's a genuine laptop like this one, you'll be scanning the QR code and you'll see it from the point of the manufacturer. Yeah.
So a lot of tech-enabled, customer aware and a sensitized customer are coming up. And I would plead with, number one, the regulators to be friendly. Number two, the practitioners and the biggest spenders, and of course the biggest spender is the government, to look for a way to accommodate the base. The businessman at the base. Because once that person is accommodated, we accommodate the person at the top tier.
Top as well.
And above all, we have to look for a model to give leverage to innovation, so that our copyrights and patents, especially the patents that come with our youth. Ask yourself, I think it's in JKUAT we had a ventilator. Where did it go?
It was in Kenyatta University.
It was in Kenyatta University.
Yes.
This is the place where you had a ventilator.
Yes.
There was someone, I think in Kiambu Road, with the hospital beds. You see,
where did they go to?
Where did they go?
Yes.
So we are not promoting the local contractor. And once we fail to promote the local contractor, we kill many practices that surround that practice. Because remember, these practices are surrounded by, number one, a marketing agent, an accountant, an IT specialist. We kill them once we fail to promote the local contractor.
Right.
Once we fail to pay the local contractor, you understand?
Yes.
And we pay the overseas contractor, this contractor will not have the capacity to create jobs, to create revenue, and above all, to build onto our expertise. Because let me speak, although I don't qualify to speak on their behalf. Engineers, we are not building onto what they have.
What they can offer.
Okay. It's a practice. I would not call it a rudimentary practice, but we are not really building up onto their capacities. You understand?
Given how important it is. It's funny that it's rudimentary on that level.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because now we import too much of their practices. We import them.
Yeah.
You find in a local village, in a very local remote area, it's a Chinese doing the roads.
Yeah.
You understand?
As if we never graduated engineers.
Yes, as if Kenyatta University, JKUAT University of Nairobi has not given us engineers.
Yeah.
So we are not building up.
Okay.
Yeah. So once we promote the local contractor, we even get a chance to compete on a global scene.
Yeah. I see how government can improve business operation in the Republic in that way. Supporting that supply chain, ensuring, of course, the base is well supported. And, sometimes I imagine this should be the government's greatest effort because they will reap the rewards. From the taxes that will be collected, from the professionals that will come out of it. Yeah. They have to contribute to NHIF, they have to pay their pays.
And above all, Kenya to the world. Kenya to the world. Yeah. This is what Kenya to the world. This is what we do. Yeah. This is what we have. This is Kenya to the world.
Yes, right.
So once we fail to promote the local contractor, we fail to showcase Kenya to the world. Yes.
I'm trying to get Kahawa. They call themselves Kahawa. Is it Kahawa 1738? There's just a new venture that is taking care of farmers in Kahawa 1893 coffee. It is founded by Margaret Nyamumbo, who's a third generational coffee farmer from Kenya, and they've been raising quite a deal in trying to empower farmers in the supply chain of coffee. They were in Shark Tank a few months back. We also saw that they raised a bit of money this year. So, the more we support that, the more we put Kenya to the world.
In fact, connect me to her because I'm a coffee farmer.
Okay.
I've got a few stems in Kerugoya.
Nice. You should send this to her and then we build up that base. Of course. Thank you very much. Just one question, one last question. We can't handle them all, but we have Michael Oyaro on Facebook. Ameguzwa sana na hiyo mambo ya brokers. I hope you're not a broker. Brokers play a role currently and fill a gap. What are your suggestions on what should be implemented to fill the role they do and effectively take them out, but gradually? I hope he's not fearing for his job, but anataka gradually. What can we do to replace them and fill the gap they currently, the role they play?
Yep, we can't whitewash them on one night. Yeah. We wake up and sleep and they are not there. But it's a gradual process. And they are there to fill the gap. He's correct. They are there to fill the gap. In my view, what should be done? As I said, advocacy and sensitization towards the consumer. That's why there is no broker between me and you. When I was called for the show, there was no broker. The manufacturer, the person doing the production, should be very keen. It is very bad, let's say you've manufactured something, then there is a broker. You're the person who did put in the work to get the piece intact. Then there is a broker in between who makes more money than you for that product to get to the final consumer. You understand? Yeah. When it comes even to the government system, the tenderpreneurs, these tenderpreneurs move with tenders and they sell them like potatoes. Later.
They have tenders ready every other time.
Later.
Yeah. Shika.
Later. You understand?
Now it's become a culture.
And now with that, we kill the opportunities brought by what? Equality, number one. Competition, number two. And number three, what else do we kill? The aspects of fair competition, equality, and the women, physically challenged persons, the persons with disabilities, and the youth.
Okay. Marginalized people.
Marginalized people. The people who should be in the cluster of affirmative action. We get them out of the system. So it's a good practice that we get rid of them through sensitization, advocacy, tech.
Yeah.
And tech.
Right.
And tech.
Tech itawatoa sana kweli.
Tech itawatoa. Because if you remember, just as we were saying, going to the airport with a taxi was a big deal.
Yeah.
2010, 2012, taxi
was quite expensive.
3 rich uncles, not all uncles, not all of them.
That's 3 rich uncles.
Three rich uncles must have a conversation with their phones at hand for them to get a taxi. But nowadays you get a taxi from your comfort at any time. Yes.
For sure. Yes. Thank you very much for...
When it comes to telemedicine, you don't need to present yourself physically to a
now
doctor.
You can have consultations online.
You have consultations online.
Yeah.
Mike Oyaro, I think he's a lawyer. I think he's a lawyer.
Oh, okay.
I think. Mike Oyaro, there is this digital lawyer. What do you call him? Wakili?
Wakili AI.
Wakili AI.
Yes.
You get an
Yes, we had them here.
Getting an affidavit was a very long process.
Yes.
But Wakili AI, that is not even done by a lawyer, you get
that in seconds.
You get that in seconds.
Yes.
You get a sworn affidavit in seconds.
Yes.
Without a broker, without a call, by just paying 500 shillings.
Yes.
That is close to $2.
Yeah.
$2. So with that, I mean, we have to look for a way. we have to agree that tech is coming. It was quite impossible a number of years back for yourself as an individual to import your car. But nowadays,
you can do that
from the comfort of your
smartphone.
Of your smartphone.
Yeah.
In Kirogoya, Kiangombe in Kirogoya.
But like I need this Porsche Cayenne.
Porsche Cayenne. You can get your Porsche Cayenne or a Porsche Macan, because I like the Porsche Macan. Yeah. You can get a Porsche Macan. I ordered it from Kirugoya. It gets to the port. It gets cleared online, and I'll get a driver from Mombasa
to bring it all the way to your doorstep.
To bring it to my mother's doorstep in Kirugoya. Yeah,
for sure.
Yep.
Tech is going to be a very
it's an enabler and a revolutionary.
Yeah.
And a revolutionary.
Okay.
It's an enabler and a revolutionary in business practices.
Okay.
Even in governance.
All right.
Yep.
Nice. Thank you very much. You've touched on so many areas, from business to governance to how the government can come in. And I just will give you this chance to maybe give one last remark when it comes to that, to the players. And also, because you're a professional, I don't know if businesses want to engage you for consultation services, you can let them know. Let me read this feedback, and then you can do that as we close up that section. Cindy Maina, this is one very informative guy. Kudos to him.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cindy, for tuning in and sending in a comment. Diana Wenwa, this show is educative for the young people. Asante. Sharon Mwaniki, embracing financial education is key in growing our economy as a nation. And I just received here some information from my producer on the Kenyan entrepreneur, Margaret Nyamumbo, who is based in New York City, who received a massive investment of 44 million Kenyan shillings into a coffee company that is helping Kenyan coffee farmers get dues that are worth of their time, and taking out that middleman. That's actually her statement for the company, taking out the middleman and helping farmers reap huge. Your last remarks.
Well, my last remark when it comes to this, I must reiterate my thanks for having me on this show. A lot must be done. And let me say, the world is spelling a lot when it comes to the opportunities in the supply chain sector, when it comes to businesses, when it comes to governance, when it comes to consumption. That's why we've got global brands, initially, global brands. So a lot is spelling. I would like to encourage the local contractor to keep doing on what they do, because some local contractors are showcasing Kenya in a large aspect. The aspect, let me speak of one, Joka Jok, this person who makes the bags.
Yes.
They are bags of a global repute.
Yes.
But we don't amplify his practice.
Yes, luxury designer from Kenya.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So a lot must be done. I would call on my people and my countrymen to promote our local contractor, the government to support the businesses at the base model so that we don't crush them, and above all, to brace ourselves for the regulations that are coming, because now there is a lot of regulations that are coming that were not there. Remember, we have not touched on how procurement is regulated, let's say, by the central bank, by the regulatory board, by the review board, blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
By the ombudsman.
Yes. There's also that Public Procurement and Disposal Act, which I had a question on, but yeah, we didn't touch on that as well.
Yep. But it was revised to the asset disposal, and there is a revised edition of 2022.
Okay, yeah.
There are so many things that are there. Well, I would say that the youth are a bit crippled because they cannot meet all the clusters. So we get that. I'll not call them middlemen because that word has featured too much. They are agents of big men.
Yes.
They are agents of big men. So I would just say that let everyone play a sincere and honest role, so that we can have a vibrant economy and showcase Kenya and our contractor prowess to the world.
All right. Dr. George Wanjobi.
Yes.
Muturi,
yes.
Lecturer and CPA. That was a great conversation on procurement.
And the CAPS.
Supply chain.
CAPS. Yes,
right.
CAPS.
CAPS. What's CAPS info?
It's a professional paper for the procurement practitioners.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Anyone who'd like, that's actually the last thing that I had asked. If there's someone who'd like to engage you for strategic management consultations and whatnot, is that something they can do? Reach out to you?
Yeah, you can reach out to me because I'm a scholar and I'm a consultant.
Okay.
When it comes to affairs of supply chain and affairs of strategic management. for small organizations to apex organizations. So I go on Facebook, that is Dr. George Wanjobi. My email, it's gmoturi34@gmail. And my number, it's 0718-542-293. That's my commercial number.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you very much for creating time for us here.
Thank you very much,
Yes,
my brother.
that has been a very great conversation.
And very insightful one.
Yes, it is.
And I wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you. I wish you the
May
best.
God see you
All
in
right.
your endeavors
Asante
together
sana.
with the rest of the team.
Okay, thank you very much. May you have a great day as well. That was Dr. George Muturi, and we'll be having that conversation later on YouTube. So if you missed out and you've just joined in and you feel like it's a bit too late, you didn't get enough, on YouTube later on we'll upload it, KUTV Kenya, find it, and then send in your questions. If there's something that you'd like to follow up, we'll help you do that. We are not middlemen because we're not making money out of it, but we are the agents of the big man, and we will help you. We'll help you get to him.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you very
Taking
much.
a short break, I'll be back with Nick Mwadime Mwangi for that conversation on the newspaper review. Is also coming along with Samuel Karanja, president of the Student Union, Kabete National Polytechnic. The Daily Nation, is it more daily and less nation? The Business Daily, more business, less business, more daily? If you have the Standard, what kind of standards have they set this morning in the headlines?